Oh my God, we're live. Hi guys, it's Rebecca from Angel Foods and we're doing a free live webinar training about blogging. I love blogging so much and I'm so happy we're live right now because my website just crashed again. What is going on? I have a feeling it's some plugin or something to do with this webinar. But I'm hoping I'm live. So let's start with, hopefully people can see me. If you're on Google Plus or Google Live Hangouts, whatever it's called, if you want to come over to the website, I've got a chat box there, angelfoods.net, angelfoods with an s.net/blogging-webinar. So come find me over there. Anyone that's here, thank you, you rock. Really want to check that you can see and hear me. So if you can chat, type away in the chat box below. I put the little motions there, but in case people can't see me. Let's go have a look to see if anyone's chatting. Oh, I've got to refresh all my pages because they weren't working. They're like, error, establishing database connection. No! Literally, I decided to come join the webinar early, like a good, oh God, I don't know that it's live. I came to join this webinar early, like a good 5-6 minutes early, because one, there's nothing worse than somebody being late. And I hate others that are late for me, and I don't like being late. It's a pet hate. Don't know that I'm live. I feel sad. Yes, it's a pet hate for people being late. So I didn't want to be late, and not after yesterday. I had, as you probably know, I had to reschedule this webinar because my website just crashed. I could not get a database connection. Apparently, I don't even know what that means other than my website was down. Oh my God. All right, let's just open like a heap of tabs and see what works. Something's got to work, right? So right now, I don't know if anyone can see or hear me. If anyone's on see if you can message me on Facebook or private message me on Facebook. If you're friends with me on Facebook, that would be rocking, because okay, it's coming up errors for people. Boo! All right, let me try that. All right, Crystal's just texting me to say it's down again. Fantabulous. Connection lost. Saving has been disabled until you're reconnected. We're backing up this to your browser just in case. I'm just going to read my error messages out to you. Link. YouTube link. Copy. Let's try something wild. See if people can come straight to the Google Plus Hangouts rather than on my website. All right, let's take Crystal in, see if she can go help me out. People are trying to get on. Natasha, I can see you're trying to come up. Crystal and Helen and Renee, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. What is going on with, oh God, sorry, I just made that wild. What is going on with Google Plus Hangouts? Let's try that one as well. What is going on with my website? Why does it keep crashing? Like, if anyone knows the answer to this, feel free to tell me. Don't think anyone does. I don't know the answer. It's techie stuff just happens. Is it a sign from the universe? I wrote that in my email this morning. Am I supposed to take this as a sign from the universe to like stop doing webinars? Error! Oh my God. I'm so sorry, guys. It's nothing bloody worse. Sorry for swearing. Nothing worse when it's disappointing. Now, why is it doing again at exactly the same time as yesterday, being that I'm like pressing go on a webinar? What is that about? I don't think it's because I've got like 200 people trying to view the webinar. Like, I'd like to think that, but I don't think so, because the most I've ever had, I think was, I want to say 48 or something. That was pretty awesome. I can't remember what webinar that was from. All right, Crystal says she can see me over in our Facebook group. All right, Rini and Helen say you can see me too. All right, this is going to be interesting. There's no chat box. All right, let me go over there as well. Can you comment underneath it? Is that a thing? Sorry, I was looking down at my phone just before, and the doodaddy just started to play automatically. If I don't know, can you comment underneath? Is that a thing? And then if I can screen share, I could probably keep going with the webinar. That would rock. I'd really like to stop wasting your time like right about now and get into the training. I'll stop wasting everyone's time. All right, Crystal, is that a thing? Can I think so? I think so. Let's all right, I don't know, and I just want to say I'm so sorry. I don't know. Let's make it so. All right, I'm just going to go share the link in a couple of places, and then I'm just going to get into the training because nothing like flying by the seat of my pants. Any which way, the video will be recorded, and I'll be able to post out a replay link. Yeah. All right, and I can edit out this rubbish. That will be awesome. All right, we'll do that. Give me 1 minute, please. All right, Crystal's texting. Yep, you can see me and hear me. Awesome. I've commented down bottom. Not sure if you have reloaded your screen to see them. Down bottom of the YouTube video. Is that correct? I'll just hit refresh to check. All right, Crystal's texting. Yep, you can see. Awesome. I can see it. Had to hit refresh. All right, thanks, Crystal. All right, we might rock this training. I've hit that link. All right, Crystal, if you could add in the Cake Business School group for me, I might pop that link at the top. And we'll use that like thread. Oops, let's try that again. I don't know what it's doing. All right, let's try this. Cake Business School. Alrighty, I think we're good to go. All right, do we still have peeps online? Can you see that training? I'll just hit refresh. So we're all on YouTube, I'm assuming. Crystal's here. Is anyone else here as well at all? All right, do we still have peeps online? All right, my apologies that the website's not working. Yeah, my website's crashing for some reason. But all right, we're on Google Plus and we're going to get straight into tonight's training. All right, I'm going to screen share and flick the screen around. So you can see my slideshow. If you can, let me know that you can see it. And it says blogging for bakers. What if you could have a blog done, D-O-N-E, in only 15 minutes from beginning to end with no idea and no time? Because that is tonight's training and topic. I don't know if you know, but I have, every time I hit refresh, it starts playing it. Sorry. Oh, Danny's here. It's all working. Thank you. Oh, that's probably Renee, and you're on your husband's Renee, on your husband's YouTube account. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So hopefully you can see the screen and my slides. Like I said, I have self-proclaimed March to be blogging month, where I am talking all about blogging and why I bang on about blogging so much, because I love it so much. And the reason is because I've had massive results from blogging in many ways, but we'll get into that really soon. So during this free live video training, I pull back the curtain on what exactly to blog about, so you don't spend months thinking about it. Some notes really quickly. Stay on the webinar until the end. There is a special bonus for live attendees. Grab a pen and paper. There's a Q&A at the end. Oh, I had a free PDF for you guys too. Oh, a downloadable worksheet. I'll email that out with the replay. I'm going to have to. My apologies. A free worksheet that you could fill in and print off and use in conjunction with this training, or afterwards when you're planning out your blog posts. But I'll email that through in the replay. You should be able to see and hear me. That took a mission, but if you can't, log off, log back on again, try hitting refresh. I'm going to hit refresh too, just to see if anyone's commenting, because this is going to be a bit special tonight. Alrighty. Beautiful. So for a business, a blog is a way of sharing your products and services. So what you do or what you sell without being salesy. A blog is a way of sharing your products or services without being salesy, as in cheesy used car salesman like, or a bit icky. A blog is a way to add new information and regularly update a website. It can also be referred to as an article or a what's hot or what's new or a piece of content. That's another way of talking about a blog. It could be an article, it could be a piece of content. It doesn't matter whether you're a startup, a cake decorator, a seasoned professional, a hobbyist, a food lover, business owner, entrepreneur, or anything in between. Blogging is 100% essential, whether you want to sell products or services or want a heap of website traffic. So if you want to sell products, a blog is 100% essential. If you want to sell a service, a blog is 100% essential. If you want a heap of website traffic, a blog is 100% essential. So what are you going to learn tonight? We are going to write a blog from beginning to end in 15 minutes. We're also going to cover how and where to how to start a blog, or where to start a blog and set it up. We're going to talk about how to keep people's interest. What would you say if it, because it's already been said already, and what blogging platform to use that is good and easy. Remember to stay on the webinar until the end for a special deal. All right. As I said, I've self-proclaimed March to be blogging month, and this whole month I am sending out 15 free blogging tips, from setup, templates, topics, how-tos covered, and questions answered for all skill levels. So from beginning to end, we're talking about blogging. So where to start, including setup. Why do I need a blog? What to blog about, including a template. How often should I blog? How long should a blog be? How long should it take? to write a blog or do a blog with step-by-step video tutorials, most of them under 5 minutes, how to add images to your blog or photos or pictures, how to hyperlink, being link words to another page, how to embed images or videos on your website or blog, which blogging surface or platform to use that is good and easy to use, and what to say that hasn't already been said before. That's what we're covering this whole month. Tonight's training in particular, we're talking about what to blog about. That is our main topic that we're covering, but there's some other things we'll cover as well. There is a live Q&A at the end as well, which I cover more questions and answers. Not 100% sure how I'm doing that without that chat box, but we'll figure it out. But these 15 free blogging tips, if you want to sign up so you receive all those emails, there is a website link to go to. And I'm just trying to think how to get that link to you because I don't know that I can. Add, usually on YouTube you can't add a link that, oh, I have. Okay, under the webinar in YouTube, if you hit refresh, I've just added the link to our free blogging training. That's got those 15 trainings. That's where you can grab it, and I'll also pop it in our Facebook group. We've got a Facebook group called Cake Business School. Oh, you're watching, Natasha. Fantastic. All right, so I'm just popping the link in a couple of places. Beautiful. All right, we'll keep going. So all of the questions about blogging will be answered this month. I won't be able to answer everything tonight, but I will be able to cover a fair bit, to be honest. All right, so hi. If we haven't officially met yet, my name is Rebecca from Angel Foods, and I'm Cake Business School teacher. My official bio, I started Angel Foods back in 2010. I was working in an office job at that stage as a carer and disability support worker, and I think I was like a coordinator's assistant at the time as well. And I finished that office job, and I desperately did not want to work for somebody else. I was living in England, and I just moved back home to mum and dad's. I have essentially owned a car full of stuff. That was it. I was single, now unemployed, and I was living with my parents. I started the cake business just to earn a little bit of cash on the side so that I didn't have to get, you know, a big girl job. I wanted it to be easier. All right. And starting cake business, that is when I started my first website, and my first and second website were terrible. I say terrible being that they weren't amazing. They were very, very basic and ugly. The first website, I pictures of it. I never actually screenshotted it. So if you've got a website, screenshot it, because it's just fun to like have a view down memory lane later on, and save that in the folder. It actually took me ages to find these ones. This was my second website. These pictures you can see. So my very first website was a Weebly website, a Weebly, and Weebly and Wix are very similar. It's essentially a free platform of building a website. They've got templates. It's drag and drop, very, very easy to use. And I built it just purely to have a website on my business cards. I was selling cakes. I've got my food license now at the markets. I wanted to hand out business cards at the markets. Knew I need to have a website. And I went Weebly because I'm very not techie, and it was free. I didn't need any more persuasion than that. It was very easy to set up. A year of having Weebly, I had learned a little bit more about websites, and I had learned two things. One, I needed to upgrade to WordPress because Google, being the Google algorithms and getting up to Google ranking #1, getting any type of decent traffic to my website would never happen on a free platform. And number 2, I had learnt that I needed to be collecting email addresses. And again, I couldn't, back then in 2010, 11, we really didn't have the functionality that I was able to collect email addresses. So I decided to update to a WordPress website and start collecting email addresses. And they were the 2 greatest things I could have done for my business. This second website, well, it was a WordPress, and again, it was still ugly. I'm not a designer by any means, and I paid a virtual assistant, a VA, to build this website. I had no idea, and I paid actually through the nose for it. I paid a lot of money. But I learnt a lot along the way, so I don't regret that by any means. So that's actually, you can see my homepage on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side, that was my gallery. And I thought those buttons were cute, but they're ugly, ugly. So my blogging story. My first website, it was Weebly, again, like I said, and I was, just starting to get cake orders. I was practicing taking photos. The photos were very dark, shadowy and things like that. But essentially, I was using it to build my portfolio up over time. Every 1 to 2 weeks, I'd be uploading new cake images, and they would improve, over time, over that week, over that month, and over that year. So that was pretty good. I don't recall blogging very much at all. I think I did maybe half a dozen times, not much at all. And in all honesty, I didn't for a couple of reasons. 1, I didn't know what to blog about. Number 2, I didn't know who I was blogging to. And I didn't know what I was doing, essentially. When I updated my website to a WordPress, I knew that it would be better for my SEO, being search engine optimization, and Google ranking, that I needed to blog more. But by that time in business, I'd gotten very, very busy very quickly in the first year, and I was fully booked out by about 6-7 month mark. By 9-month mark, I'd franchised my business and sold off a territory so that I could essentially sell somebody else my orders, and they can take them on board, so I'd be less busy. But then I started franchising, so I actually got busier selling franchises, but that's okay. And then I decided I was going to write a book called Cupcake Business in a Box. And then I decided to build another website for that. I decided to shoot some video tutorials on cake decorating for my franchisees, and then also to sell from my website, because I had this new, WordPress website. So I was selling at the markets. I was selling custom cake orders, birthday cakes, wedding cakes, etc. I was selling wholesale to cafes and restaurants. I was selling franchises, and I was selling video tutorials. And I realized I had a couple of different target markets there, a couple of different people I was selling to. I had, people that had cake orders. I had my, hardcore market goers that were just coming to visit me at the markets, and that was it. I had cafes and restaurants that would only order wholesale from me. I had franchisees or potential franchisees. So these are people that wanted to start home cake business, and video tutorials. So people who loved cake and cake decorating, not necessarily bakers, as in, they're wanting to start their own cake business, and not necessarily ordering cakes from me. So I had these like 3 or 4 different target markets, and I didn't know what to blog about. And with that confusion became indecision, and with that indecision became inaction. And again, with that second blog site, I didn't blog, and that was one of the biggest mistakes I made in my business. By the time I got to my third website, I got very, very clear on my target market, and I got very clear on my blogging plan, and I had great great results from a consistent blogging, and even just getting clear on who I'm blogging to, what I'm blogging about, how often to blog, and what type of content to get out there. Within 6 months of my third website, I'd hit Google #1. Sorry, no, within 6 months, I'd hit Google #2 with about 50 sets of keywords. Within 9 months, I had hit Google #1 with about 70 to 80 sets of keywords. Sets of keywords or means like words that are typed into Google. It's also built my website traffic. Back then, I was getting about 2,000 to 5,000 website hits per month, and I'm now getting over 16,000 website hits per month. 16 is very much my minimum. On weekends, which is my slow website traffic days, I get a minimum of 200 website hits per day. So those numbers and those results are purely from blogging. So that's why I love blogging and bang on about it. So let's jump straight into tonight's training. It is blogging for bakers. If you could have a blog done, D-O-N-E, in only 15 minutes from beginning to end with no idea and no time. All right, I'm just going to check to see if anyone's asking any questions. Minutes from beginning to end, no idea and no time. All right, I think it's still working. Crystal, text me if it's not. Crystal, I'm just going to forward an email to you. They're having problem logging in. If you could send them the link to YouTube, Google, that would be rocking. Alrighty, thanks for that, guys. I appreciate it. I don't like to leave any man behind. Leave no man behind. I was getting really nervous before tonight's webinar again. It's strange, isn't it? All right, where's my post? Alrighty, step 1. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, figuring out what to blog about. As I talked about with my story, it's realizing who your target market is. And it's okay to have several target markets or several people that you're selling to or several customer bases, whatever you call it. I call it a target market. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about target market in tonight's training because it's like a whole section itself, like nutting out who your target markets are, your groups of people that you sell to or potential customers. But it's being aware of them. We talk about target market a lot in Cake Business School. We have training on that. So that's a separate topic. But in particular for tonight, I'm going to be talking about cake decorators, being that if you have a cake business or you're selling cakes, these ideas and suggestions is 100% what I'm referring to for cake decorators. Okay, what to blog about? When I was thinking about cake decorators, there are 3 main types of things to blog about. Number 1 is sell. So literally what you sell is being what you create. So whether it's, you know, cakes or cupcakes or cookies or cake pops or candy buffets or cake stands, I'm just, you know, putting it out there. Whatever you create, you blog about. And I'll explain more in a second. Number 2, frequently asked questions, FAQs. What you get asked, what questions you get asked over and over again by your customers and by your potential customers, you should absolutely be blogging the answer to those questions. Number 3, what I like to refer as out and about, blog about where people can find you. So find your products, find your service, find your goodies, find you. So we'll go into those in more detail. So the first one, blog about what you sell, what you create. All right. So whatever you create, Share about it. It doesn't matter whether it's a product or service. So I'm going to give you an example. And again, I said predominantly we're going to talk about cake decorators tonight. So if you're a cake decorator, share the cakes you create. Share what you are doing every week. Share your pieces of art. Share whatever you sell. Okay, does that make sense? Like even if you're a startup, you're going to be practicing cakes. Share that practice cake. And even if you're not a startup and you have cake orders, share what you're, filling cake orders with. So that baby boy two-tiered cowboy themed cake, share some photos of that and a little bit of a backstory. There's a blog post. Share that jumbo cupcake smash cake. Share that wedding cake. So anything that you're creating, whether it's a practice cake, a photo cake, a gallery cake, a portfolio cake, an order, display cake, you don't have to share all of them. You can just choose, one or two of your favorite or best for the week, or you can choose all of them. I don't care. But whatever you sell, whatever you're wanting to sell, share it. And it's in a non-salesy way. It's not saying, hey, give me orders. It's saying, hey, check out what I created this week. And it's sharing essentially a bit of cake porn. And who doesn't love cake porn? I don't know what you guys do for a Friday night, but I'm checking out cake porn. That's what I call cake pictures, because I love it. I get excited about cake, so that's why I call it cake porn. So whatever you create, again, it still works for if it's not cakes you create. If you create cake boards, I was talking to a friend this week, Deb, she sells cake boards, cake stands, and she wondered what to blog about. You literally blog about the cake stands, but you do it in a non-salesy way. It's just, hey, check out the latest cake boards we've created, cake stands, sorry. Here how they look, how a cake looks without a cake stand, here how it looks with a cake stand, like a before and after photo. You know, the weight loss pictures you see where people are trying to say, hey, buy my thing that makes you lose weight. What they actually share is the photos of the before and after. We love that. All right, so whatever you sell, meaning whatever you create, do a blog post on that. And there's obviously every single week you'll have several blog posts just about that. So you can choose your best or blog about all of it. Again, I don't care. It's whatever you want to do, but that's a load of information right there. Number 2, FAQs, your frequently asked questions. So anyone in business will get asked a question. So whether from, how much do you charge to, do you deliver? How long in advance do I need to order, etc. So answer any commonly asked questions in a blog post. So it saves you time answering the same question over and over again. You can direct people straight to that answer that you've now created a blog post about, so they actually get more website traffic. And then you get the answer, and you're providing even more value through really great customer service. So anyone looking through your website will get great value because they're probably already thinking of that question. How much does a cake cost, right? Like, tell me that's not your number one most asked question. So again, I've given you examples. How much does a cake cost? How to choose the right size cake? How far in advance should I order? Should I choose fondant or buttercream or chocolate ganache? Answering those questions via a blog post is going to actually save you time in the long run. And the out and about section. So sharing in a blog post where people can find you. So, for example, it could be, hey, find me at this market this week. You do this market once a fortnight, you do this market once a month, you do this market in between, for example. You could do a roundup of the month. You could do each market individually. You could do it weekly with find me here this week, whatever you want to do. You could share where people can buy your stuff from a cafe. You could say this restaurant stocks my cakes. You could say, find me at this festival, this show, this expo, this fete, or any type of event that you can think of. Anything out of the ordinary, create a blog post about that. All right, so they're the three main types of blogging. The number 2 part, or step 2 to what to blog about, is having a bit of a template. And what I recommend is the first paragraph is the intro or introduction. And I should put in brackets, that is keyword rich. And what I mean by that is, all right, you always start with an introduction, of course, but you don't want the introduction to say, hi, my name's Rebecca and I like cats and rainbows. Who cares, right? I say that with love, who cares? What I mean by that is the title of blog post is going to be how much, let me come up with an example. How much does a cake cost? You want it in that first paragraph, say, hey, I understand that your first question is going to be, you know, how much do I charge for cakes? How much can you expect to pay? And, you know, will it be really expensive? That's exactly the thought process. So when I say keyword rich, what I mean by that is automatically answering the full list of questions. Yes, how much does a cake cost? But there were several other words in there that were similar but different. How much does a cake cost? How much do you charge? How much can I expect to pay? What's the minimum amount? They're all kind of related, okay? So first paragraph is the introduction, that is keyword rich. The first paragraph is one you want to actually spend the most time on compared to the rest of the paragraph, because that's actually part of your SEO or Google ranking strategy. Being that is what the Google engines and algorithms will read through first, and you really want, not only that, that's also what your customers are going to read through first, and they're either going to realize they're on the right page or not from that first paragraph. Now, that was a bit of SEO strategy there, so that's getting a little bit away from the topic, but later in this month, in blogging month, I will be talking solely about SEO and getting up to Google #1, because that's my favorite, well, one of my favorite things to talk about. All right, first paragraph is an introduction. Secondly, you want to have a feature image. So what I talk about feature image is the main image which your blog is about, which you can use that image for then go share on social media, for example. Say, hey, here's my latest blog post. Here's the link to the blog post. Here's an image for the blog post. You need an image to go with a blog post because it makes it more readable, more user-friendly. Okay. If it's just a blog post full of words, it's really hard to consume. Same if it's a blog post full of images. You don't really know, what the story is behind the images. You need to have a bit of words, a bit of pictures. So have a feature image, meaning the main image. And I use Canva or PicMonkey to create those images. Canva, C-A-N-V-A, or PicMonkey, P-I-C-M-O-N-K-E-Y. All right, first paragraph, feature image. Then you want to have a little bit of a story. It can be a backstory or you adding a little bit of personality to it. So a backstory, for example, if you're sharing your latest cake creation, you could share a bit of a backstory about how the customer found you or what they asked, design process, or anything that happened along the way while we're creating this cake. Or you could be add a bit of personality, meaning, hey, my kids got up to this this week. They went to Jumping Castle Land for the first time and they loved it. Check out my latest cowboy cake. Because everyone loves a little bit of a story and a little bit of backstory. As human beings since the beginning of time, we've related to each other through story. So, for example, I once heard of somebody saying that they'd kept their business quite separate to their personality. But one day her cat jumped on a computer and made a big old mess of an email or something like that. And she cleaned it up. She goes, oh, funny story, cat just jumped on my keyboard and made a big old mess of this email, and then she hit send. And then she said when she went to the gym, come home, and she had, I'm going to exaggerate, but let's say 20 replies to her email going, oh my God, you've got a cat. I've got a cat too. My cat's name's this. Check out a photo of my cat. Things like that. Just a little bit of a story that makes people more relatable, because essentially people buy from people. They don't buy from businesses. So while, yes, you are a business, you're still a person. You still have a personality and you still have a story. And it's okay to share a little bit of that, up to you, obviously, to what extent, you know, whether it's, you know, the images of your kids' faces or their names and things like that. So, for example, I don't share my boyfriend's child's name, nor do I share an image of her face, her direct face. I've done, you know, a hat with sunglasses and jumpers up to her face and things like that. And that's to respect her privacy and confidentiality, being that she's not my child, she's my boyfriend's child, and with, you know, his obviously ex. So I'm aware of that, and I'm a little bit careful of that, to be honest. But everyone has their own line. It's up to you where you draw how much personal stuff you add into your story. All right, so you got your first paragraph, you got your feature image, you got a bit of story. Then you've got your main body with really great content. So obviously not really average or below average or even rubbishy stuff. So if you got really blurry, dark photo, I don't recommend sharing it, because it's not your best side. Like, you know, putting your best foot forward, like walking out of the house with makeup. I'm a fan of makeup. It's fine if you don't go out of the house with makeup, but it's nice to put a little bit of makeup on. It makes a little bit of difference. Same with your cakes and same with cake photos. So you have a really great body. So, you know, sharing images, because we're an image-based industry. The photo sells, all right? A picture tells 1,000 words, all that jazz. Even if it's an information blog post, try and add some images in there, but a combination of words and images. And then at the end, always add a call to action at the end of a blog post. There is always supposed to be some action you want the reader to take as their next direct step, okay? For the most part, for cake decorators, it will be getting them to contact you for an inquiry or for a quote, okay? So, hey, if you loved this cowboy cake, contact me for a free quote, and hyperlink that up to your contact page, okay? So a template for your blog, that's a very quick, simple template. And honestly, using those top 3 main topics and this template, it will take you 15 minutes to create a blog post, all right? Step 3. Oops, sorry, it's flicking everywhere. I should just do a, so just thinking I'll do a quick refresh and I'll have a drink at the same time. Taking 15 minutes to create a blog post. Alrighty. Step 3. When writing a blog post, choose one thing to blog about. So often I see people trying to put their whole life story into one blog post, and that one blog post being the only blog post that they ever publish. And don't get me wrong, I understand why you're doing that, but at the same time I don't. A blog post needs to be a short, one tip piece of golden gem. You just want to give them one gold gem, right? Not a whole big nugget. Can't give away the whole cow because nobody wants to eat the whole cow. We just want a piece of that eye fillet. So one blog post needs to have one point. Okay, so sharing one cake, saying, hey, this is my latest creation, it's my favorite for this week, feel free to contact me for an inquiry, versus, hey, here's everything I created in the last year. That's not going to be overwhelming. Okay, so whether it's your latest creation or an FAQ or an out and about type blog post, choose one point, one thing that you wish to get across, so you're not overwhelming or confusing, or a 6,000 word blog post, right? It's too much. It needs to be short, tip or action or step. All right, one small thing, one point to your blog post. So for example, trying to answer all your FAQs at once, all your frequently asked questions at once. Sure, you could have a website page on that, or you probably could have a blog page on that, but I recommend just breaking it down into one at a time. Alrighty, step number 4. All right, reuse website information. For the most part, or not necessarily for most part, but in some cases or in a lot of cases, you probably already have some of this information or content already on your website. So frequently asked questions, you might already have a website page with all of them answered. Or I'm going to guess you do have a gallery or portfolio of cakes that you've created. You've got to have an About You page already. And you probably share, hey, where people can find you. That's brilliant. What I'm going to suggest to you is break them down into one little tip or one little piece of information, one single piece of content, and make a blog post out of that, because that will create more content for your website, and that will improve your SEO and therefore your Google ranking. How easy is that? That's super easy. It's creating an intro that is keyword rich, creating a feature image for it, pasting in, adding a little story, pasting in that content, and giving them a call to action, and hit publish. So easy, so easy. Step number 5, multi-purpose the blog posts. So you're already going to go use a lot of the content already on your website, being the website pages. Create a blog post out of them, then multi-purpose those blog posts and share on social media. So being on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and whatever else you're on, Pinterest. Then you can also use that same blog post as an email newsletter. So back at the beginning when I told the story of my first WordPress website, and I knew I needed to start building an email list, and I did that via an opt-in, being that an opt-in is where I ask people for their email address in exchange for something of value. So back then it was 3 tips on how to start a cake business, and I've got loads of opt-ins now. I don't know how many I've got. I'm going to say like a couple of dozen, but most of you, but most people, for example, you signed up for this webinar via an opt-in. So I gave you something of value in exchange for your email address. I gave you some free training on blogging in exchange for your email address. And the main opt-in on my website at the moment is the Cake Baker's Toolkit. So this Cake Business Camp, 3 days of video training on growing a cake business. So I provide something of value. So being a cake decorator, there are loads of ways you can put on your website. So for example, one of the most popular is offering a voucher. It's a great way of creating orders. It's giving something of value, of perceived value, and people are happy to opt in for that. So for example, a voucher would be, hey, order a cake over X number of dollars and receive a box of cupcakes for free, valid for, let's say, 2 months, something like that. Really great opt-in. So once you've got an opt-in, or you're building an email list, you then want to email them regularly, and that's called email marketing. And a lot of people get stuck on what to email out, and your blog post is exactly what you email out. It's providing content, it's providing something of value, it's a really great customer service, and you're multi-purposing the same piece of content. And it's again reminding people that you're the local cake lady without saying, hey, order my shiz. It's saying, hey, check out the latest blog post on how much do cakes cost. Does that make sense? All right, if you do have any questions, feel free to comment. All right, 2 places under the YouTube video, and I don't know how to check on Google+, I've got to be honest. Or second place, you can ask questions would be in Cake Business School Facebook group as well. I apologize that the webinar wasn't 100% working tonight, but I am glad we're getting to record this. I'll email out the replay. If anyone's got any questions there, just hit reply to the email. That would be rocking. That might be easier too. All right. Oh, for people live on the webinar, we're up to the bonus time. Oh, how exciting. Not sure how I'm going to do this. Oh, I know. Yes, I do know. All right. So I wanted to do a freebie just for people showing up to the webinar because they're usually a little bit longer, which, you know, it's about like 40 minutes at the moment, I think, since we started. And a bonus for people hanging around because that just rocks. I know the webinars that I've been on, when people give me free stuff, I'm like, I love you so much right now. All right, so I have a blog swipe file for you, and a swipe file, in inverted commas, is something you can swipe, being that you can steal it literally from me and use it, and I done for you, and it is much. So feel free to swipe it, so steal it, copy, paste it, add it to your blog post. All you need to do is add in your numbers and done. So let me paste that link for that swipe file bonus. Where are we? Ooh, there it is. All right, so in YouTube, you're gonna have to hit refresh. It'll just stop for like 3 seconds, but you'll be fine. Beautiful, that's worked in there. Oh, Natasha had some questions. Natasha would love more on target market. Sounds like I'm in the same boat as you busy wise. Okay, I'm pretty busy and I'm at the crossroads, so target markets may help me. All right, sweet Natasha. Other examples of that first paragraph. Should they all be the first paragraph of the blog post, yeah. Should they all be full of self-answering questions, then going into more details, or are there other ways to make it keyword rich without listing a bunch of words? Good question, Natasha. It is more of an SEO question, I suppose, and I'm not going to say I'm an SEO expert. I just see the world in keywords. It's kind of like an intuitive sixth sense thing, I suppose, after a couple of, or year and a half of practicing. I generally make it so it is going into the thought process of what a person's thinking about and the numerous ways they might be phrasing that question. It does still need to make sense and be readable, because Google won't like just a whole heap of keywords just copy and pasted, you know, into the first paragraph. It does need to be like readable and conversational and of value, essentially, because you don't want people to navigate away either. You want them to continue reading. All right, so Natasha's saying, so with FAQs as an example, would you just focus on, say, how to determine how much a cake will cost? So how many people are they serving, taking into account other desserts to ensure that they don't order too much, and then don't focus on any other FAQs. So yes, that's what I suggest. Don't get me wrong, that's obviously my, you know, 2 cents worth. But with that particular, you know, question, how much does a cake cost? In my experience, I try not to overwhelm my customer or potential customer by literally listing everything that goes into what a cake costs. You'll see in the, I've just given the blog swipe file, and that's actually the one that I'm giving away for people to steal. So you can click on that, have a look what I do. I go into it a little bit saying, hey, look, when you're ordering a cake and saying how much will a cake cost, it's a bit like how long is a piece of string. just to add, you know, a bit of personality and explain it in a way that a layman will understand. A layman being, you know, someone who's not a cake decorator. There's a bit more that goes into a cake, like, you know, how many servings and things like that. But don't stress. I'll make this easy as possible for you. I can do your free quote and it's quick and painless. All right, so without literally going to every single detail, just saying, hey, there's a bit more to it, but don't worry, I can help you. Because remember, what's the point of your blog post? Your blog post isn't so that they actually feel overwhelmed and that you lose a customer. The blog post point is to get people to contact you. All right, so it's not necessarily fairy flossing a piece of information, but making it readable, consumable, of high content, high value content, and that people want to contact you because they've gotten to know, like, and trust you a little bit. You've added a bit of personality in there, going, hey, I'd really like to deal with her. Because any type of experience we've had with a business, not experience, but like, I think that's the right word. When you've had a really great experience with a business, was it actually the product or service? Or was it the customer service that you got that you actually love and recommend? So customer service is, to me, a priority, and that's what I aim to do through a blog post. Okay, does that? I'll just hit refresh to see if anyone else has asked any questions. All right, but that blog swipe file I've just copied and pasted into YouTube and into the Cake Business School Facebook group. That is only available during this webinar. I will take that down probably in about an hour's time. So steal that. Oh, thanks, Crystal. She's okay, I can't do that one right now. Crystal's just posted a link under YouTube about where she can people can join us in our Cake Business School Facebook group. All right, thank you for that, Crystal. All right, back to swipe file. Hopefully that's what everyone's still seeing. Let me just check. Yep. All right, beautiful. All right. So that was the bonus for people live on tonight's webinar. Second bonus, because I just can't help myself. I've actually got 5 blog post swipe files, or a blogging swipe file with 5 blog posts. That's a tongue twister. Okay, for the next 24 hours for people who enroll in Cake Business School, I've got 5 blog posts that you can just swipe, copy, paste, publish, done. All right, and that's for enrolling in Cake Business School. And Crystal, in the YouTube box, if you could add Cake Business School link, please, and in the Facebook group. Thank you. So what is actually in Cake Business School? Sorry, the blog posts as well. I was getting ahead of myself. What are the 5 swipe files? 1 is how much does a cake cost? Number 2, how to choose the right size cake. Number 3, fondant versus buttercream versus chocolate ganache. Number 4, quotes, what's needed when asking for a quote. And number 5, how far in advance should you order? So what is Cake Business School? It is a exclusive training website with modules on how to grow a cake business. It's only $9 per month, Australian dollars. So convert away to what country you're in. One of the questions I get asked is, you know, I'm in the UK, does it refer to me? All students can be anywhere in the world. The training is universal. And so some of the modules, for example, 1 is the secrets to a fully booked out diary. Module, work-life balance success formula. Another module, how to price cakes for maximum profit. Another module, blogging 101, the secrets to website money and Google #1, much like what we're talking about tonight, but goes into blogging further in Cake Business School. We also talk about target market in Cake Business School. Natasha, you're asking about that and want to know more about target market. That training is already in Cake Business School. We also talk about Google Analytics and increasing website hits. inside Cake Business School, and also a module on how to grow an email list and add an opt-in to your website. And again, we talked about that tonight, and literally the training is already in Cake Business School on how to do that, and you have instant access to the vault of training. So again, for new people that enroll in Cake Business School, you get those 5 blog swipe files done for you. So literally copy, paste, saves you time, examples done, and then you start to feel more confident about adding more blog posts because you've got, you know, a little bank of blog posts already done. So I don't have a large pink button because the website's not working, but Crystal's posted a link to enroll into Cake Business School. Thanks, Crystal. All right, it is Q&A time, question and answer time. I do it at the end of all of my webinars, so I hang around as long as you guys want, as long as you have questions. A little bit more difficult tonight that we're all over the place. Normally I have a chat box straight onto the webinar on my website page, but that didn't work tonight. Sorry, I was having a drink. I was getting croakier. But if you have any questions about tonight's training, blogging, Cake Business School, email marketing, YouTube, passive income, websites, ebooks, e-courses, search engine optimization, just go ahead and start asking me. And thank you so much for joining. I really, 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 really appreciate it because it was a bit of a, oh, I shouldn't swear. It was a bit of a fun ride tonight. Yesterday was fun too because it didn't happen at all. That's okay. I did have some people email me questions straight away. Not straight away, sorry, on my emails. So I'm going to start answering them now. There we are. Beautiful. I'm going to start answering these other people's questions. I had Kathy and Paula and Esther emailing me, asking me questions. So I thought I'd answer them now. Now it'll be brilliant while people are chatting away their own questions, or if they're thinking about it. I can't remember who asked what. I apologize, ladies. But how to start a blog, or where to set a blog up, or, you know, set it up. How to start a blog. All right. A blog is essentially a website. It's a type of website. It could be a straight blogging website where there's no information, no other website pages. So to have a blog, essentially you need a website. So what blogging surface or platform should you use that is good / easy to manage? It's a good question. It's a big one. I'll try and keep it not so big. Okay. I shared in my story that I started with a Weebly website, a Weebly, W-E-E-B-L-Y, which is similar to a Wix website. There's also people that use like a Blogger website or a Tumblr website. They're the most common, I suppose, they're names that are most commonly used or heard of. Those platforms are generally free. So for example, my website was angelfoods.weebly.com. I think that was my very first website, and it was for the first year. Because I went on Weebly, because I chose the free option, being they host it, and I don't even know the rest of the terminology. That meant they got to put the, you know, .weebly in the URL, in the domain name or website name. And I don't regret that decision, to be honest. But to get good website traffic and to get Google ranking, being, you know, search engine optimization, that can't be done on a free platform. Full stop. I apologize. I'm kicking the table around and that's why it's jumping. I'll try and stop doing that. You can't do that on a free platform. So while, you know, the major benefit is it's free, yay to free. Essentially, when you want to start building your website traffic, you're going to have to upgrade to a WordPress. WordPress, I talk about a lot because that's what I use myself. That's what I recommend. Of all the websites in the world that aren't on a free platform, over 90% are WordPress. The other 10%, a lot of them are Squarespace. So Squarespace, I believe, are just as good as WordPress, but I have no experience in them, just to let you know that. So WordPress is a platform. It is actually free to have WordPress. It's wordpress.org, WORDPRESS.org. Once you have WordPress, there's actually a couple of other things you need to do. You need to buy a domain name, which is your URL or website name. So that's one of the costs that are involved, but then you own that name, okay? So that gives you ownership of the website and ownership of the content. That's really important. The other platforms that are free, you don't have ownership of the URL, the website name, nor do you have ownership of the content. So I bought my my domain names from, I have a couple of domain names. GoDaddy is one, and then also HostGator I've heard really good things about, and also Australian Domains. And Crazy Domains, I have two. So all these links you can actually find on my website. There's a website page called Start a Blog. So there's all the links in there, everything that I'm recommending. All right, so you have WordPress, you have a domain, then you need to host it. I'm not even going to explain how they're all interconnected. That's what you have to do. I don't understand myself. So you need to host your website, and I recommend Bluehost. I use them myself. And again, you can get that link on my website, angelfoods.net/startafoodblog, something like that. So the question of, which blogging surface or platform to use and which one's good and which one's an easy one to manage, I suppose, like I said, it's not an easy question. So while you can start on those free platforms, Weebly, Wix, Tumblr, Blogger, and they're brilliant because they're free. At some stage, yes, you will need to upgrade to WordPress. You can choose that in the beginning, or you can just do it later. It's not overly difficult. It's doable. Essentially, everything's figure-outable. It's not a complete nightmare. Why I don't regret, excuse me, I personally don't regret starting on Weebly because I was essentially finding my blogging legs. I was figuring out, what I'm selling. I was practicing taking my photos. I was building out my portfolio on gallery. I was figuring out who my target market is. My business was changing really quite quickly. And then I was also practicing my blogging. So unless you're a seasoned blogger, if you've never written a blog post or written, less than 24 blog posts, you're still practicing blogging. So practicing writing the content, practicing publishing, practicing taking photos. And for the most part, for me, it was just practicing being consistent, because I was very, very inconsistent. I was blogging maybe once every 2 months until I, by the third website, nailed in my blogging strategy and scheduled it in that I was blogging weekly. It doesn't have to be that often, but I would suggest, fortnightly, aim for fortnightly. If you're blogging less than that, I'm going to say a free platform's fine, meaning that, you're not going to get up in Google ranking by blogging less than that. And certainly inconsistently, and certainly if you're not keyword rich. But if you're aiming on getting up in Google ranking at some point, I feel like I've answered that question as best I can in this amount of time, okay? Other questions was how keeping people interested. How to keep people interested. And I believe that's by adding a little bit of personality to your website. So, for example, right now during this webinar, during, videos and things like that, I add a little bit of personality. It's a bit hard to not add personality in a video, to be honest, or to be fair. But also in a blog post in the written form. Sorry. In the written form, that's a great way for you to add a little bit of personality, because that is how you're going to keep people interested. Not only that, you're going to share a photo of a sexy, sexy looking cake. That is going to keep people's interest. Don't get me wrong, people are not going to read every single post, every single word of your post every single time. They will not. And that's okay. Like, that's normal. That's industry average. That's anything average. Notice how much that you read blog posts, and what percentage of the content you read, and what whatever number of posts you read. It not that it does or doesn't matter. It's just human nature. We're not going to read everything. And essentially, it's part of the blogging game as well, finding what people are more interested in versus less interested in. And you can do that by Google Analytics, for example, seeing how long they stay on a website page and things like that. But for the most part, the best way to keep people's interest will be adding just a little bit of personality in there. All right, another question I had was, what would I say that hasn't already been said already? That's a good one as well. I imagine that would be a quite common thought as well. Like, what have I got to share? I just want to share, a tutorial on how to make an edible monkey top-up. That's been done before. It's no point me doing it. I just want to share that two-tiered cowboy cake. But no point me doing that. That's already been shared before. There is absolutely every reason in the world that you should share it, because nobody's going to share it like you. Nobody's going to share your personality. Nobody's going to share your creation. You are giving a little bit of you in every cake. Nobody can create a cake 100% like you, ever. Nobody can ever create a video tutorial 100% like you, ever. So, for example, I'm a teacher, a trainer, right? Imagine if there was just one teacher in the whole wide world. One person's already started teaching. Oh, better, why bother? I won't start. Teaching, like anything, cake decorators, there is more than enough room in the world for more than one teacher, because we all have different learning styles, we all have different teaching styles, we all have different personalities, we all have different experience, we all have our own gifts that need to be shared with the world. By you not sharing your gifts, you're denying the world your creation, your special thing. So that cake or that tutorial, that training, that anything, you absolutely should share it with the world, even if it has been created before, because nobody can create it like you can. All right, I hope that answered that question. I was quite passionate about that. I really feel strongly about that. It's like cake decorators that start, they're like, oh, shouldn't bother, there's already competition. I'm like, imagine if there was just one bakery in the world, one bakery that started selling vanilla slice and croissants and a meat pie, and nobody else ever started a bakery in the world because there's already one. I want a bakery on every corner. Do you know what I mean? People will make it differently, with different recipes, with different love, with different ingredients, right? More than enough room in the world for everyone. All right, let's go see if there's some more questions. I'm a really bad singer. All right, refresh and refresh. Give me a sec. Alrighty. Okay, so I don't see any questions there. Let's have a look here. Alrighty. All right. People are unsure if they're still enrolled in Cake Business School. Here's the link in Cake Business School for those 5 I should type it while I'm saying it. Oh. Here is link for blog swipe files. My blog post done for you for enrolled Peak Business School peeps. Alrighty, copy that. Beautiful. All right, I think that's about it. I can't see any more questions. I can see some people are watching though. I've got 6 people watching. How exciting. And it's 9:15. Oh my God, I can talk. All right, if anyone has any questions for me, otherwise we'll like round this baby out. like getting me to stop talking. Good luck, people. All right. Crystal, can you text me if you can see any questions anywhere? I don't think there is. Renee, sorry you're having trouble logging in. I'm not sure what that was, but I can see Crystal was helping you, which rocks. We'll figure it out soon anyway. All right, no questions on YouTube. And Natasha's asking if she was still enrolled in Cake Business School. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are, Natasha, but sorry, I'm reading through everything. Natasha's laughing at me. Well, laughing at the conversation where I was trying to read out the questions and understanding them, but that's all good, Natasha. If you got more questions, let me know. Yeah, it's always hard to figure it out from a chat box, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. All right, somebody just wrote something. No, I think that's it. No, Crystal's like, no more questions, as she can see. Ooh, Natasha did. You gonna keep me talking, Natasha? I should swap the water for wine. I like your style. I try, not that I try not to do blog webinars late at night, but you can hear how croaky I am, right? Normally I'm an old granny and I go to bed like 8 o'clock. I know, pathetic, but I like it. I like going to bed early. So when I got to do a webinar, I've got to like encourage the boyfriend not to be a pain in the bottom. So I went and bought him a bag of lollies. And as I'm walking into the webinar, here's your bag of lollies. Hopefully that keeps you quiet for like half an hour. I'm cheating like a child. That's terrible. But I do it with love because he really does like a bag of lollies. Oh, Renee's got a question. Renee, sorry. I know this is unrelated, but on an average, approximately what amount of money should we be looking at to set up a market stall? Okay. Set up a market stall. It can be really, really cheap, to be honest. Setting up wise, like I borrowed Eskies, I borrowed the gazebo, I hand painted a sign, tablecloth from home. The stall fee was like $10 or $15. So cost was my ingredients and my packaging. And that obviously directly correlates to how much you take to what that cost is. But for example, if you plan on spending $100 on ingredients and packaging, you'd want to be selling about $300 worth of product. So I can't think of any. Sorry, I'm just going brain dead because I'm tired. I can't think of anything else that would. Oh, you do have to have insurance for a market stall. That will be one as well. So I've got a link on insurance and I've got a link on setting up a market stall. I'll put them in, Crystal. On a side note, Crystal, are you still having troubles getting those links? You have to if you could text me and let me know. Angel Foods Insurance, because you said, I think on Monday or whatever it was, the 1st of March you could get in, but I think you're having troubles again, and that blows. But we'll figure it out. If you could yeah, text me, let me know. So did that answer? How much approximately should we be looking at to set up a marketing stall? It's really, really cheap to set up a marketing stall. It's market stall. Oh, because my website's down. Is that why, Crystal? Oh, bang, Rebecca. Oh, just worked for me. It was really slow though. Insurance. All right, so Renee, I just posted in a link for setting up a market stall and everything I suggest and recommend. And how much it costs and what to take, etc. And then also for insurance, I've got a link on suggestions and recommendations as well. I'll just pop that in as well. So if anyone's got any more questions, let me know. Otherwise, that's it. Still says 6 people watching me. There it is, insurance. Come on, insurance. Alrighty. Gee, my internet is ridiculously slow. Yeah, ridiculously slow. All right. Okay, beautiful. That's everything, Rainy. All right, guys, I'm going to log off now. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm Rebecca@angelfoods.net. Otherwise, you can find me on Facebook, Rebecca Allen or Angel Foods. Or you can find us in the Facebook group, Cake Business School. Love for you to join. That would be rocking. It's really awesome groups. Over 2,500 people now. Oh, that rocks. All right, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. All right, bye.